Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Penny Bloom.
I could go on.
Please do. If you
I don't think they want it. I don't think they want it. I don't think they want the smoke. But it's House of the Dragon time, baby. Fire and Bloom. Back at ya. House of the Dragon podcast presented by us, the Penny Bloom Podcast. Episode 7, Driftmark.
Whew.
Another Miguel Sapochnik directed episode. And I'm here to talk about it. Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And I gotta say, man, we got another one.
Whew.
Another just fucking banger of an episode. This was amongst my favorite episodes of Game of Thrones ever.
How are they doing it?
How? Well, it continues to impress me because we've the fact that we've already covered 16 years of story or some crazy shit like that. I mean, we skipped 10 years there, but you feel every single bit of it you need to feel, regardless of having skipped 10 years.
Yeah.
What the, how is that possible? How is it that effective? Every time I'm online and I see someone go, "Oh, they're rushing it," I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're getting us exactly where they need us to be.
Yeah, I guess we could have, seen more of Rhaenyra and Laenor, their relation, just see more of them throughout 10 years. We skipped 10
True.
years, and we don't see Harwin and Rhaenyra. So there are some deaths that I guess could be a little bit more impactful if we spent the time with them, but I think that's the point, is that it's not really supposed to be that big of a death. It's just
these things happen to get us to the thing that is big. And that's fair. That is fair. But regardless, I still feel like I feel the things I need to feel. When Harwin dies last week, I'm feeling for Rhaenyra. This week, after Laena's death, more than anybody, I'm feeling for Laenor. What a fucking...
Dude.
Ooh.
Dude was distraught.
That was rough. That was rough shit.
Okay. And this is at the beginning here, but why? What was Daemon's little chuckle there?
I got you. Shall we dive into the scene by scene then, just to, because it won't be long. We will be there within moments.
I need some clarity.
I got you, because it took me 2 watches, and the second watch, I'm on it. I know why. But we open at Lady Laena's funeral, taking place over on a cliffside over the ocean. King Merlin's domain. Merling, apparently, is what it's regarded as, according to the Valyrian tradition, when they return her to the sea. And the cameras take to the crowd. We watch Daemon's daughters cling to Rhaenys. Otto Hightower is there, rocking the hand of the king brooch again. We're back at it, We're back at it. And as Corlys's brother Vaemond delivers the eulogy in High Valyrian about how the family's blood runs thick and true and must never be diluted, he stares directly at Rhaenyra and her kids. Daemon catches wind of this and cannot help but laugh.
Okay. Thank you. I was,
Yes.
because I'm like, I guess maybe it's just because he was talking in High Valyrian and I'm not really putting the two and two together. Like, as he's talking, like, I don't know. It felt like he was just laughing at,
Lena being dead.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
was like, what? I'm like, dude, wait. Like, I thought he turned somewhat of a new leaf, like,
And I'd say, I don't know. I don't think he's just there's so much going on with him, that like, I do think that it truly affected him when Lena died, but I truly also think that he's already like, well,
moved on.
that happened, like,
Yeah. I mean, he literally
like
does
if
say,
he was truly distraught, this does not make him giggle.
yeah.
Like if you're at your wife's funeral, there is nothing that should make you laugh unless it is within context a funny memory. Like just
Yeah.
generally the eulogizing her and being like, our blood runs thick, it must never be diluted. Like, I don't know, that's a bad look. And yeah, Damon's specifically Jaciris takes note of this. Rhaenyra's son. He looks down. He kind of he feels the effects of that. And this was another example of just exquisite editing. My only beef with this is that it's unclear that Daemon was also looking at Rhaenyra and her kids, which might be another reason why this kind of got like lost in translation, not so easily deciphered. That being the reason he laughs, but the editing was really good. The way they cut to Jace like immediately after that, and
there were so many parallel shots like throughout this episode of like, I don't know, so many shots of you'd have two people having a conversation, they'd be facing camera right, and then like it would flip to like the other side of the story, and they'd be like literally in the same position but facing camera left. Like I don't know, so many of just those, or like I think it was maybe here, Rhaenyra,
like after the funeral.
I think so, or maybe they're on the ship going back or something like that.
Gotcha.
And Rhaenyra's like walking like just in a direction, and she's just looking at people, and she sees Daemon. And like, she's
the way the
just
camera takes us through the after. I was about to mention that because when we get there, it's one of my favorite parts of the episode. The way like in the on the right side of the screen, you can see Alicent just eyeing the fuck out of her. And then it just quickly cuts away from her because like, that's just a part of it. That's just a little bit of what's going on here. And that's what I loved about this episode is the beef in any given room is nuts.
Dude, yeah, the tension
like, and
is
this one is like the tensions are running high, but obviously later when we're all in the same room again, there is nobody in that room who is happy with anybody. You know what I'm saying? Everyone is like, the way the tension, you can just feel it. They all come in at odds with each other. Like, oh my God, it was so fucking good. But we do have a little bit to go before we get there. Jace's son specifically takes note of this giggle, after having questioned his parentage a week ago. I do think this episode quelled any question about who his dad is. I think his dad is Harwin.
You think, really? Why?
Yes.
Why so? This episode,
they seem to imply there was a gap, given that Laenor and her actually did try for a little bit to have a kid, and nothing came.
And they
of
wouldn't.
It.
Yeah, no way. No way that she's actually pregnant with Kristen's baby.
No.
And then they try. I guess, like, there's no way that she wouldn't, like, it's early enough in the pregnancy where, no. Like,
I'd be willing to bet Laenor and her don't fuck for a few weeks at bare minimum after their wedding. Like, that wedding was a bad tone setter for what this relationship was going to be.
No, you're right. Yeah, I think you're right there. And
frankly, no matter what, that's what I'm going with now. I like thinking about Harwin as the parents of the kids.
It's better that way, honestly.
It is
I think
far better that way.
It would
And
have
I
just
think
added a cool dynamic, I guess, to the show. But like, I'd rather it not be that way.
I would rather it not be that way either. Kristen's a complete and utter fuckboy, but
the line's got to end with him.
yeah, he can't have kids, man. The Coles need to stop. But yeah, so they
was the intro different. The
I
family tree, I think it grew. I think it grew. There are little kid podiums now.
That would make sense, like for Reyna and Bela.
Yeah, and I couldn't. Gotcha. I couldn't tell though. I think so.
I'll have to take a look back. I'm sure it did. It would only make sense the way the bloodlines are expanding. It would make sense for them to account for that.
I don't know if it was this episode, or I don't know, or maybe it's been this way the whole time. But one of the lines was running like absolutely thick. Like it was like 8 times wider than like it seemed the break of Viserys and Rhaenys even maybe maybe even up further. I don't know, but like one side, like a big division, like one side was running way thicker. Like
gotcha.
I don't think it was always that way. I don't know. But like
I see.
It is I think it is sort of changing episode by episode as
I'll have to take a look at that because I haven't been paying close enough attention to that, I remember we had that sort of theory about it in the first or the second episode that it would start to evolve and as characters died and as characters were born, it would kind of show more and more for us.
Cuz they did the same thing in Game of Thrones, when like Winterfell was like burning, like on the map you would actually see like
when the White Walkers were making their way down, it showed a trail of white in its wake. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that I don't know that I'm not crazy on one.
No, I'm sure you're right. That sounds like something that would that they would certainly do. But Lena's coffin here is pushed into the water, and it marks the end of this funeral. And we head over to the post-ceremony reception where Rhaenyra makes her entrance. And again, we've gotten a lot of paralleling shots of Rhaenyra entering a room from behind throughout this show. I remember specifically like in the tent where her and her father had that argument at the feast for Aegon's name day very, very, very early on in the show. It showed her entering a room from behind. I think it happened in the first episode. It happens here again as she enters, and it seems like everyone's eyes are on her. She makes her and Daemon exchange looks. Alicent gets a look in, but she searches for Jace in the crowd, and she goes over to talk to him, asking if he's seen his dad, and to let him know that his cousins are having a really rough time. He should go give them some words of comfort. And he goes, "It's ridiculous we're even here. We should be at Harrenhal mourning Lionel and Harwin." And I was like, okay, kid. Yeah, he knows. Yeah, like, and he's not the only one who knows. Because whenever he does go over to Bela and Reyna, I think the older one is well aware that he's not only mourning an aunt.
Yeah.
I think she knows that he also lost his dad, which is it's just a really cool way to show that the kids are looking out for each other, at least over here, between the Velaryons. I think that was a really cool little touch because it could be perceived as him comforting her, but she comforts him. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Reaching out, taking his hand, like, "Hey man, I got you. I know what you're going through because I'm literally going through it right now. I just lost my mom. You just lost your dad. We on the same page, same book."
I think it's more of just like showing that the kids themselves are truly just innocent. Like in all of this, like even last episode, whenever Aegon is being a dick and like they are just doing kid things. It is just kids being kids. It's not legitimate family drama that one is going to kill someone over or kill some kids to keep a claim to the throne. It's just they're tied in to the family drama no matter what, just because of their their names. And I don't know. I think, like the kid, like I guess Harwin was around a lot, and he was like their real dad. Like he seemed that he was like the one they played
imply
with. Stuff.
That like he was around a lot.
Yeah. So like, no, even if he wasn't their blood, they would still be like, well, I want to
because
go.
they were distraught when he was even leaving.
Yeah.
You know, like whenever he was going back to Harrenhal, they were like, "No, please, fuck." And Rhaenyra was like, "It's okay. We'll communicate by Raven. It'll be fun." You know, like they were clearly disappointed Harwin was leaving. So it implies that Harwin was there for them quite a bit. Which is just, God, it hurts so bad. It hurts like hell. I love Harwin, but yeah. In another corner, we see Aegon complaining to Aemon, you know, we have nothing in common. And Aemon's like, well, it'll be all right. And Aegon's like, well, perhaps you should be betrothed then. They're talking about Helena. Aegon and his sister are married, apparently, now.
Good.
They said, let's go ahead and get this out of the way early, you know? Y'all are married. That's how we're going to do things. And that's, yeah, cool. Good for them. Good for the high towers over there, I guess. The greens, if you will. But again, Helena, the little dreamer she is, on about the spool of thread, green, black. She's prophesying the war that's about to happen between the greens and the blacks. The blacks being the Targaryens, and Velaryons, the greens being the high towers and Targaryens. She be dreaming.
Yeah, I wonder what the magic or what the actual explanation is, if we even get one behind her.
Like the dreamer thing.
Yeah, if we get like deeper into that, and it is like maybe like when the Night King was created, like it was such a big event that it like made this prophecy, like the Night King needed to be destroyed because it was such a powerful thing. So like this prophecy was just set in place already, you know, like just like, all right, we'll create him for now, but we will get rid of him by this happening, and for some reason it has to be a Targaryen throne, I guess. Which like, I guess it was true. Was Daenerys, or was it still Cersei at the time?
It was still Cersei, but the Targaryens still helped, and like because it was Aegon and Daenerys.
Yeah,
it was Jon Snow and Daenerys.
Is that they would the Targaryen would be the one responsible to unite everyone to fight against it, and Cersei was really the only
for
party
that to happen.
Yeah, Cersei was the only party that did not really join Daenerys, but I guess they were the ones who really were the force against the Night King. Yeah, I wonder. I don't know if they'll dive into any of that, or if it's just going to be kind of left.
Well, and like that's what is interesting about putting this prophecy in this show, is that we have a very obvious, glaring hole in the prophecy, and it's that Targaryen was not on the throne when the Night King was destroyed. You know, like pretty blatant. I don't know. It's very interesting.
But immediately after she was, for a little bit.
Yeah, like she became the queen.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, and the prince, I mean, like, the prince who was promised, the one who actually kills him, is not a Targaryen. You know, like, there's very little the Targaryens had to do with the actual defeat of the Night King.
So I guess how much is this dream really? Like, how much can we really
Yeah, maybe Aegon was like, maybe all he saw was the coming threat, and he decided that Targaryens were the best positioned to fight him.
Yeah. I guess like he's like, I saw this dream. Why did I see it? And
Because we have to do it.
And why would I give this? Why would I be like, no, actually, the Starks need to be on the throne during this time? Like he's not gonna.
No, yeah, the prophecy wasn't literally a Targaryen needs to be on the throne. The prophecy was that this shit's coming, and Aegon decided the Targaryens need to be there. And they were. So, dubs. But yeah, so Sir Kristen also takes note over here that Larys hasn't stopped looking at Alicent since they arrived, quite unabashedly. Now, what the fuck is up with this dude? Because that's not like, you're not being subtle, A.
Maybe it's just a reminder, like, remember who I am. Like, I don't know, like, you're welcome. Your father is hand now.
I guess. I just...
Like, because he's happy with where he is for now.
He's the new Lord of Harrenhal after his family's demise.
He seems comfortable right now, but he's got to be planning something more. Like there's too much conflict right now for him not to profit off of it.
Right.
For him not to be like, oh yeah, I nothing's here for me. The whole realm is about to fall apart. Nothing. I'm just gonna stay out of it. No, he's got some stake in something.
Right.
But
right.
I wonder.
Man, I don't fucking know. He's a
Alicent's gonna need help now, though. So I guess.
Yeah. He's just like, I'm here whenever you need that help you were talking about. Whenever I told you one day you'd figure out a way to repay me. It's coming up. I know it is. I think that's kind of the idea, but there's also an interaction here where Corlys approaches Luke, and lets him know that he's gonna be the Lord of the Driftmark. One day his brother will sit on the throne, but the Lord of the Sea, Lord of the Tides, he's got control of the sea. He's got the Navy, and Luke is like, I don't want it. I never wanted it. He went full Jon Snow here. Flesh of my flesh, blood of his blood. I don't want it. And he's like, well, what the fuck you mean by that, man? What do you mean you don't want it? And then he delivers the most heartbreaking line I've ever heard from a child who's in any position of power. If I'm Lord of the Driftmark, it means everyone else is dead.
Oof. These poor kids.
Dude, they don't deserve the shit, bro. Especially the Velaryons, man. On all sides. Baela, Rhaena, Lucerys, Jacaerys, none of them deserve this shit, bro. Helena, nah, she don't deserve this shit, bro. But
Helena is the most interesting kid to meet by far. Like, there's the others are like, yeah, Aegon is he has a claim and he's probably gonna be pushed to the forefront of trying to be on the throne, blah blah blah, and like, sure.
Aemond?
Who stole Vhagar? That's
Aemond.
Aemond. Okay, no, yes, Aemond. Aegon, Aemond, Helena, or is it Aegon, Helena, Aemond?
Aegon, Helena, Aemond. As far as like in order they were born, yeah.
Cyrus, Lucerys, and then.
And then Joffrey. I mean, whoever Daemon and Joffrey.
Oh yeah, where
was Joffrey this week?
Still a babe.
He's still a very small baby. I forgot Joffrey existed this week. That's crazy.
Still a baby, I guess. But
I bet Daemon and Rhaenyra are definitely going to have a baby.
Immediately. But the first thought in my mind was, well, you just gave birth, but how you're going right back into it. It's good to know that that no one will have any question on whose child this is. I think.
Yep. This one's gonna be Damon's.
Like it'll finally have the white hair that everyone's been looking for, but also the white skin. So it's I don't think. Well, I guess everyone believes that Laenor is also dead, so there's no possibility.
There's no question there.
Of it being his. So yeah, I mean, it's just so funny that Rhaenyra's kids are like the most. It is without question. Everyone knows who the father is already. Like, it's so I don't know. I love how there's just no question on who the father of her kids are in the show, and I mean it's brought up here in front of everyone.
Yeah,
so I guess
here in a little bit, but
we'll get there.
Yeah, all the while throughout this reception, Rhaenyra and Daemon catch each other's eyes from lock eyes from across the room. Down my drink while the rhythms boom. Went full jizz in my pants by Lonely Island for this
just
one.
Ate a grape and I jizzed. Oh man, that song, Lonely Island, man. That was that unlocked a deep memory just there, like some deep locked away memories.
Oh God, hilarious shit. But Daemon, I mean, not again smiling every time he sees Rhaenyra and stuff. Just like he's living right now, For some reason, whenever there's chaos, that's when Daemon's at his best. That's when Daemon's like, I get to be me. And Rhaenyra watches as Viserys approaches him, and he extends his sympathies. Now it's been like over 10 years since he dismissed Daemon. So like whenever he's like, please come back, come back to King's Landing. There's a seat for you on my council. You're always welcome. Let our beef pass with the years. And Daemon's like, I don't need shit. I don't want shit. Pentos is my home now, as it is the home of my children. And Viserys is like, man, you and I both know that shit ain't true. Don't fuck with me like that. But Daemon ultimately storms off. Otto tries to stop him, and he goes, no matter how well the leech feeds, it will always want more. Daemon fucking hates Otto. That might be, I forgot that this might be my favorite beef in the show.
Yeah, I mean,
is Daemon and Otto.
Daemon called it out to Viserys early and was
episode like 2.
Yeah, he's like, you need protection from yourself. Your council is taking advantage of you, especially that hand of yours. And then Rhaenyra comes up and is like, all right, you have to do this if I'm going to be your heir. And then that's when he finally takes action. But like, nah, Daemon, is that the beef? Is that he took advantage of his cousin? So it's like, you're taking advantage of my blood, so that's enough. Like that's it. That's between them, Like, is that?
I think Daemon. I really do think that Daemon just. I think he doesn't like. I think it might not have started from shit. I think Daemon might just really not fucking like Otto, just on principle. But I think he does have a very good radar for when Viserys is being taken advantage of. And he knows Otto is someone who does that on a regular basis. So I think it's that he wants to protect the family. He's the only one who gets to take advantage of them, in a really twisted way like that. But yeah, I don't know that it goes much further than that. I think he just thinks that Otto's a snake and he comes for the Targaryens, so he can't have that. And after this, party's over. Otto goes and retrieves Aegon, where he's nearly passed out drunk at the bottom of stairs. Corlys sees Laenor in the sea, really, really down bad after the death of his sister, standing waist deep in the water, crying, and he marches over to Sir Carl and tells him to retrieve his patron in front of everybody. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, this was interesting as to, like, why? And, like, what does that... Does everyone know that that's how Laenor is, too?
Oh, yeah.
Like, is it just like that's as known?
I think it's another thing that's as known. Like, maybe not as known as they're not the he's not the father of their kids, but I think that the people who would be at Lena's funeral, probably fair to assume they know the families well enough.
So this wasn't his way of being like telling everybody. Like
No. I don't think so. He was pressed that Lanor was acting the way he was. He needed to stand up a little stronger. He needed to appear more with the family. He was down by himself, like really sorrowful and crying and drunk. He can barely stand when he's walking away. So I think he's just kind of like, go get him. He's making a fool of himself here. We need him to get the fuck out. And frankly, that's just Corliss's old-fashioned ways. He can't mourn the death of his sister. Like, I don't know, man. Shit. Leave your boy alone. I think it's okay.
Yeah. He's within his rights here.
Yeah, I'd say so. But my absolute favorite part of this reception is Viserys getting hailed on his way out. And he's making his way off, and he says he's going to head to bed, Emma. And Viserys is, he's getting old.
Is that just him getting old, or is he doing it on purpose?
No, I don't.
So that's not on purpose. Okay, so it's just. Okay.
I mean, like if he is doing it on purpose, it's a really weird thing to do on purpose. Like, because if he is doing it on purpose, he's willfully acting like Alicent is Emma, and no matter what, that makes you kind of odd in the head.
The Kingsguard is like, shall I protect her, or whatever? Shall I stay with her? And he's like, nah. Like, he's like, no. Like, he was taking, like, it took a jab at her for some, like, and why did, like, because, right? Wasn't it right after that? He, like, says, I'm going to bed, Emma, or good night, Emma.
Yeah.
And then
Sir Harold Westerling is like, shall I tend to her, Your Grace? And he responds, no. And I think I took it just because Sir Kristen's always with her. I think that might have been the jab, is that, like, she's got protection, she's got what she needs. Like, the biggest jab is, you know what, nah. She's all about how she can do shit on her own. No, fuck it. You're with me.
But it was like immediately after calling her like Emma, though. Like, if he's in the mindset of like that she is Emma, like, I don't think he does that.
Well, I think he immediately realized after he.
Oh.
Like, I truly think this man's getting old. His brain is going to shit. He says Emma and then is like, ooh, nah, sorry. You got this, Sir Kristen. I think it was just like a realization, oh, she's not Emma.
That makes sense.
Okay. Nah, you're good. Like, that might have been it. Like,
yet another episode where he doesn't die.
Holy shit.
He looked better this episode.
I agree.
Maybe it was the crown covering up his head, that was all whatever. But like, if he was walking around a little better, I feel. I don't know. He looked a little better than last episode.
I could see that. I think it is the crown covering his severely balding head. Because that's really what pulled the whole look together for him last week. Was like, oh man, this man's getting old. But it's the fact that Harold goes, shall I tend to Lady Alicent? He specifically says her name, and he like snaps into it, and he goes, oh yeah, no.
Well, I guess that was maybe.
I think it really is just his mind's going.
Okay, that makes sense. I guess it was also that guy's way of being like, no, this is Alicent here.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah,
hey.
It was just a little like a reminder, Your Grace. This is not Emma. This is not your deceased wife.
Okay.
But yeah, so it was a hell of a way to kick off the episode. That whole sequence, it was incredible, really. But eventually, everyone retires to their quarters, and Rhaenys and Corlys are sitting in the room, and Rhaenys, is like, fucking A. She wanted to come home. He didn't let her. That she needed our maesters. She should have been here. This is Daemon's fault. And Corlys is kind of like, I don't think that's fair. It's an act of the gods. It's nothing really he could do about it. And Rhaenys is just too distraught, too done with everything, too tired to keep their little ruse on. All right, Corlys, we both fucking know you don't do this shit for me, bro. It's not because of an injustice that was done unto me that you want us to get the throne back. It's because you want your blood on the throne. Let's not act like it's anything else. I gave that up a generation ago. You were the only one.
Like 10 years I've been over this, and you that's kind of nuts. Like, I wonder. Well, I guess not 10 years. A generation's not 10 years, I guess.
That's what's interesting about a generation is it's not really a measurement of time.
How long? Like, when is?
I would go once. I'd go once her children her children were born.
How long ago actually is that she actually gave it up?
20 years ago.
I don't know why I just thought 10.
25 years ago.
I don't know. I guess maybe her kids. That's probably it.
Yeah. So. Nevertheless, though, she's like, yeah, so I'm not going to hear it. I gave that shit up a while back. And he's like, I mean, this is for our family. This is for our legacy. And she's like, I don't give a fuck. I want Driftmark to pass through to Laena's line, not Laenor's. We're not giving this shit to Luke. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. And he's like, you really want me to cast a larger shadow over those kids than already exists? And she's like, I don't give a fuck. They're not of Valyrian blood, Rhaenyra's children are not of your blood. Laena's are. They are her legacy. And he shoots back with, history does not remember blood. It remembers names. And I was like, ooh man.
It's like they're both kind of right here.
Yeah, they both got a point. I think Rhaenys, because it's interesting because Corlys, yes, it is out of a lust for power that he is being there for the children of Rhaenyra. It's not like he's like, oh, they've had such a rough go of it. They deserve our love. They deserve our respect. No, he's like, they have the better chance of getting on the throne. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and treat her kids right. It's interesting though. I do think that it will end up passing to Laena or Laena's kids, Baela and Rhaena. I think they'll become the seat of Driftmark. I think that would make sense. But this whole scene was just a nice little eye opener about their marriage. It's not everything they. They've obviously been very loving in the past, but she's like, you're getting to be a little much for me in terms of this legacy chasing shit. All right.
Everyone is getting uncomfortable. Like this Rhaenyra being named heir is causing everyone in the realm to just something is just about to happen, and no one knows when. It's like everyone knows. Well, I guess it's when Viserys dies. Like, everyone knows when Viserys dies, it's on. Like, it is not going to be a peaceful transfer of power whatsoever. I think people are just waiting for him to die. And maybe that's...
chomping at the fucking bit for it.
Maybe that's Larys's next move. Is maybe Alicent is like, let's get this on.
Let's go ahead and
get
that in motion. I see you. But yeah, that was it was a tense way to leave that scene. But we head out to the beach after Rhaenyra had sent Lucerys and Jacaerys to bed. She was heading off to the beach to go meet with Daemon. She tells him, Laenor hasn't been interested in keeping up their guys for some time, but at least I've been trying to maintain appearances and stuff. And we really did try. We really did. We performed our duty as best we could, but to no avail. There was no joy in it. I found it elsewhere. And, he responds, he's like, yes, I heard Sir Harwind was quite devoted to you. And she's like, yep, but now he's gone. I'm in a rough way these days. It's not doing great. Not doing great of late. And Damon seems to be a little bit suspicious of Harwin's demise. I think he's of the mind Alicent almost certainly had something to do with it. He's got it out for the high towers, and it leads him down the right path a lot of the time. He's like, hey man, they are conniving, they're snakes. Gotta be them. They had to have had something to do with it. He doesn't say as much, but it's like,
I guess I didn't really think about how if people just thought it was an accidental fire and like it was just like something that happened, or if the general look on it is like, okay, something malicious happened here, but we don't know who did it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like those who, I'd be willing to bet Damon's pretty alone in this thought. Maybe Rhaenyra thinks so as well. It is very poetic that they would die in a fire. It's a little on the nose as far as it being like the message being like, this is because of the Targaryens,
And I guess, I don't know, Rhaenyra makes a lot of fire metaphors here. Saying like, we both lost what we loved with fire, but we are made of fire, and we were always meant to burn together. Just the way, like, it is just always very weird having like incest be justified right in front of you. By the like the character, like they both just lost their husband or wife, or well, I guess Rhaenyra, not really her husband, but they lost their lovers.
Yeah.
Both of them just now. They're at the funeral for one of them, and the other they can't be there because for obvious reasons. And now they're like, all right, well, fuck it, we'll get married. We both just instantly lost. We no time at all was taken.
No,
whatsoever.
It's like this was what the ultimate goal was all along. This is what they were always waiting for. It's just that circumstances led them back to this point. But they finally get to the meat of the matter. How he left her in a brothel back in the day, pants down and hair exposed, and
I was looking out for you.
Yeah, I spared you. You were a child, he says. And I'm like, oh, that helps.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Damon.
Yeah, she says, yes, I was a child, and look at what happened in my life without you. And it was like, interesting.
That's how she looks at it.
That's her spin on it, is that like, because he left that day, things went bad. It's impressive. But she asks if he loved Lena, and we were happy enough.
Is that his way of saying, like,
I think it's as close to love as Damon's ever got. I don't think I don't know that this man is actually capable of such things. Maybe for Rhaenyra it's semi yet to be seen. Like they clearly have a physical attraction to each other, but there's still so many things at play. This still was a little bit motivated by their claim. She says, if we bind our blood, then what? Then what will people be able to say? They'll fear us. There's a few things going on here, so we'll see. But he says we were happy enough, and she's like, and frankly, that's all you need. I'm so sorry for your loss. And he's like, you really don't need to be. It's okay. And then she goes, I'm no longer a child. And he's like, Rhaenyra, don't. But then she gives him a kiss, and he's quite on it to return the favor. And not long after, they find some shelter from prying eyes and from the wind, and get to unlacing the clothes and the slow removal of the clothes and
Another baby on the way.
Unlike last time, Damon gets it up and he gets fucking. That's
this one, yeah. Nah, there's no problem here.
he finally got there.
He's been looking forward to this day.
His dick finally got hard. I don't think there's a single scene with Damon involving sex where that's happened yet, which is pretty impressive.
I guess he has 2 kids, so it's at least worked twice.
At minimum.
You know, that's all we know. As of right now. But here, yeah. Now this one, there's what are they gonna name it? Aegon?
Aegon.
That's what I like. During this, I out loud said, "There's Aegon." Like, this is Aegon's conception, right?
Yeah. Like, I looked at Emily and I went, like, I bet they named their kid Aegon. And she was like, "That's the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life." Like, that would be so petty. And
like, history doesn't remember blood; it remembers names. But this baby would have the blood and the name.
Yeah,
you know, like it's. But is it too? I don't know. I guess Viserys needs to live for another 9 months, at least the bare minimum. Like, Aegon has to be born and like born.
Well,
for
we're taking another jump next week.
Yeah, that's true.
The kids are older.
Aemond is looking much older.
Yeah,
like,
and Aegon has a little fucking baby face. That dude looks young compared to Aemond.
I don't remember.
Well, because he didn't stand out as who you would think Aegon is.
Really?
But he's standing in front of Aemond in some of the next dawns, and it's like, oh, Aemond grew up, and Aegon's got to be insecure about the way Aemond grew up. You know, like, it's just another little bit of like him probably being a nut and kind of crazy. I think a little bit of his insecurity will come into play. His insecurity towards Aemond and towards everyone, and he's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem, as are pretty much everyone, because
yeah,
you see him there? Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's got to be. I don't know who else it would be. You know, like
Aemond looks badass, dude.
Yeah,
dude has
the eye patch works for him.
And
he looks like he takes a lot after Daemon in the looks department.
Yeah. Man. Nah, his story too is just,
it's already super fucking cool, and we get this in the next scene after Daemon and Rhaenyra start hooking up. Aemond, who has stayed outside, makes his way further up the beach. He hears the dragons in the distance, their rumbling snores, and he approaches Vhagar. And this episode, more so than last week, really, really gave us the scale of things with Vhagar. Like, I don't know what it was this week. He, like, even when he flies, more so than the last couple weeks, do I, like, see his size. The way his wings just, and it's like slow, and it's like, oh dude, it's so fucking cool. But
by far the best dragon content that has
this was the coolest dragon riding scene we've ever got. But him approaching Vhagar, trying to pet him, looks like Vhagar's ready to eat him, roast his little marshmallow head, literally starts glowing in the back of the throat. But at Aemon's command, he's been there for all the dragon training. Thank God for him, because he knows exactly what he needs to say. He knows exactly what he needs to do. The beast calms down, and Aemon's like, "Hell yeah, okay, you're mine now. What's up?" He climbs on up, sits on the back of the dragon, and they take off. The thundering footsteps, the giant wing flaps, the way his wings take up the entire width of the screen whenever he takes off, like some badass shit.
And this, so Vagar was part of the crew that Aegon the Conqueror came over with, right? Like,
yes,
did he ride Vagar or did he ride?
He rode Balerion the Dread.
Yeah. Okay, that's right.
His sister Visenya, his sister wife Visenya, rode
right.
Vagar. Yeah, Vagar's an old bitch.
And how long ago is that, Aegon? Compared
like
to
130 years or something like that. It's been a long time.
And they were probably big at that time.
They were full-grown dragons at the time. So this dragon is probably safe to say at minimum 150 years old. And that's bare minimum.
Yeah. I wonder, like...
How long does it take a dragon to get...
If they do die from old age, or if they have to be killed. Like, I wonder if... I don't know.
I think they have to have a lifespan just like any other animal, because whenever you like killing a dragon, I gotta think that's not something that happens a lot. And there's been like 40 dragons in the history of the Targaryen house. You know, like, you don't just kill a dragon. That's like, whenever that happens, whenever the Night King does it, it's like, yo, what the fuck?
That is fair. But it's not supposed to be fair. They are dragons. And I'd say they probably have a lifespan. Yeah. And like, Vagar is looking older, like his wings are all, there's holes in him a little bit, He's
got like the tethered look to him. He's looking like he's barely hanging on by a thread at some places. Like they can die of old age. I just think it's probably upwards of 200 years that it's kind of there. That's probably what I would guess, because he's still moving fine, clearly. It's not like his body's breaking down in any, physical action sort of way. He can run, he can take off, he can fly just fine.
Still got it.
He still got it. But this was the coolest dragon riding scene I think we've ever gotten. Him barely hanging on as they fly up, his only hanging on by his hands to the reins. The dive straight down, Vagar landing, just like, it was such a, because it showed like, usually I'm assuming these kids learn to ride a dragon before it's fully grown.
Oh yeah.
This dude has never rode a dragon. He's never made the attempt. He's never had the opportunity. And he's just jumping on the back of the largest dragon alive.
And I think Vagar knows that too.
Yeah, he's given him the test.
Vagar was like, all right.
Let me show you what's up then.
Yeah, if you want to do this, all right, here you go. Here's how it is, And I mean, he was really flying too. Like,
he was moving.
If you're holding on like by like that's gotta. I mean, holy shit! This dude went from being made fun of giving a pig for his dragon to
and I was like, I love this shit, because Aemond, and like, that's what's so crazy is Aegon and Aemond are probably going to have to work together and stuff in the coming war, but you can tell there's going to be resentment. You can tell there's beef already. You know what I'm saying? Like, after that prank that Aegon pulls on him last week with the pig and stuff, it shows that Aegon's been kind of, he's been a dick to his little brother, and it is a brotherly thing, like he's just kind of fucking with him. The pink dread, it's a harmless joke, but over the years, if those start to pile up, it does lead to a resentment. And I think Aemond, now that he's got Vagar, it's like, oh, you gonna fuck with me now, Aegon? What's up? What's up?
That transaction was worth 1,000 times over what he paid. Like, can you imagine, like, going through that and being like, I mean, fair. Like, they did gain Vagar. Like, would you lose an eye for Vagar? Apparently, they would do that 1,000 times over.
I mean, if you're in a battle for the throne, Yeah, I think it's a fair exchange. I wouldn't voluntarily do it, but like if it happened, I'd be like, yeah, worth it. I ride Vagar now. Fuck with me. And I got this sick eye patch and scar on my face now.
Is that his whole personality now? Is it like, yeah, I was the one that got made fun of, but look at me now? Like, it kind of seems that that's just like his whole thing, and he's never stopped doing that. And like, I guess it's kind of badass, like he probably only does badass things, like, I don't know. I think he's like, he was fighting well. I think was he fighting Kristen in the next one? Like
oh
he was
yeah,
fighting
yeah.
someone. And I think get a little rematch there, as he's grown up, showing him who he is now. Like, I don't know, it seemed that he,
I think Eamon's gonna do some fucked up shit. Like, I just think that, and not really because, like, just because of this next scene, really. He's very clearly, like, I think he is gonna be Damon, but with no interest in anything. Like, no interest in pleasing anyone. Like, Damon still has a little bit of him who's like, I need to do this for my house. Like, this is for my family. I need to protect my family. I think Eamon's like, fuck my family. I think like that's the impression I'm getting, is that Eamon's going to be like, I don't need to do shit for those motherfuckers. I can do whatever the fuck I want. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I'm expecting from Aemon in the coming episodes.
Do we know like the parentage of the Mad King? Like who he comes from?
We could, like, it like, would be, you would be able to find that on the internet.
Like, it's not known in Game of Thrones history or what we've gotten so far in this show.
I don't think they explain, like, maybe they do explain who it is, but as of right now, I don't think Aegon's parents directly would mean shit to us. It would be like who their parents are or who their parents were.
This is about, we still have like
107, yeah, like
150 years now, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, 150 to 175, somewhere in that range, because it was like 194 years before Daenerys Targaryen. Do I remember that right?
I think it was 172 or 176. I don't know why.
Okay, so 70s. All right, so yeah, we're probably closer to the 160 mark then, would be my guess. So we'll say at least, at bare minimum, Daemon and Rhaenyra's child will be his great grandpa or his grandpa.
172. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we're approaching the 156, 157 sort of years before.
Because I don't know, it would be cool just to, I guess, like, his parents don't necessarily have to be crazy themselves, like, I'm expecting just like whoever his parents or grandparents are have a little bit of crazy in them, and it's like, follows, just down the line. But I guess like he could have been the first one to just absolutely go insane, like, it doesn't have to be because of his parents or grandparents.
Right.
But I don't know, it'll be very, like, as we get closer and closer to known Game of Thrones history, like how, like, it's going to be balanced with, I guess, no, we're going to stay with these kids for a while.
There's also rumor that this show will not end up just taking us all the way up there. It might be anthology. It might take us back to Aegon's Conquest. It might take us to Robert's Rebellion. It might take us all over the history of House Targaryen. So, like, I think we'll at least get this story for 2 seasons. But beyond that, there's no guarantee that we just continue following the line.
Have you heard of the HBO Max? Like, have you heard? Like, apparently they're merging with Discovery Plus in like a year.
Yeah.
And like, people are worried that like the show might be canceled.
This show will not get canceled.
I know
it's the biggest show on earth. It's been getting more viewers every single week. It's grown.
I know, but Warner Brothers has Batgirl. Like, things that were fully done, like in the animated movie that they scrapped a Scooby Doo movie. How dare they?
Blasphemous.
For one, like I don't know, like
No,
HBO
yeah,
is in a weird spot. Like the streaming service of
HBO
HBO might collapse.
HBO Max is in a weird spot.
Yeah.
This is put on by HBO, period. This is not an HBO Max original. I think that, like, the HBO originals are safe. I think they are kind of, like, they know what the
fair.
HBO network is doing. The HBO network is yet to fail. You know, like, that's like, you just keep pumping shit out. That's fantastic. I think they're going to kind of let that go. HBO Max has been pumping out a ton of stuff. Frankly, I'm yet to watch something on HBO Max that I'm really like, oh, I don't like that. I mean, Our Flag Means Death from earlier this year is an HBO Max original, and it very quickly became like one of my favorite shows of all time. And I'm worried for the future of that show. You know, like that's. But when it comes to Game of Thrones, this is the universe. If they're trying for the universe thing, like everything else is doing, they want Game of Thrones out, and they want Game of Thrones to keep going. So I think House of the Dragon's safe. I think we'll get a bunch of spinoffs. I think I'm not worried about Game of Thrones stuff. It is, but you're not wrong about worrying about HBO stuff in general. It is a little frightening. Like with all the animation they just scrapped, and there's no physical copies of it, therefore it's just gone.
Yeah.
They just put it on streaming, and now it doesn't exist. Nobody can watch it, not even the people who created it. Like,
yeah, they're cutting costs like they needed to. Like this is strictly for business, and that's the thing, is that like apparently this HBO Max guy has spent way more money than they ever thought that he was going to. So now they're cutting costs in any way they can, and that is like. Well,
there were also reports recently that they lied to their shareholders about their numbers in terms of like subscriptions to HBO Max, like by like 10 million, which is that's not a small lie. That's
I guess the difference that I didn't put together was that it is an HBO original, not an HBO
it doesn't
Max.
pop up. It shows us the. It doesn't show us like the boom boom.
That's fair.
HBO
so even if this streaming goes whatever,
HBO network is still going to be okay. At least, I mean, and that's the thing, it's still the same company, but I do think there's a bit more trust in the network format than there is streaming right now. I think that's kind of the approach. And so I think Game of Thrones is safe. I think House of the Dragon is safe. It's the biggest show. Like the premiere was the biggest episode of television of the year. And every week, episode 2 was bigger. Episode 3 was bigger. Episode 4 was bigger. Episode 5 was bigger, and episode 6 was bigger. I don't think the numbers have been released for episode 7 yet, but I'd be willing to bet it got bigger.
Jeez, that's insane.
Yeah, like it's not fucking around. So and if it's showing them the money, they're gonna keep making it. But after Aemond lands from this flight, Bela took notice, woke up Jacaerys. Someone stole Vhagar. And they're ready for him. They're ready for him when he shows back up. They're like, "It was you. That was my dragon. It was gonna be mine." And he goes, "Your mother's dead." And Vhagar has a new rider now. She goes, "It was mine to be taken. It was mine to claim." And he was like, "You should have fucking claimed it then." I was like, oh no, this guy's a dick. And it sets off a skirmish because
the jump.
Bela pulls up, tries to give him a whack. He goes ahead, shoves her. The other girl gives him a punch in the face. He just hits her right back. No holding back. Punches her right in the face. That's when Luke and Jace start getting involved. They pounce this dude like they are. I was like, "Kid fight!" Like they were jumping this man. They all were on his ass. They were giving him some shit, and he ultimately overpowers them. He is the older one. He gets up, but that's when Jace decides, you know what? Fuck it. It's time for knives.
I got a knife.
Yeah, it's
like,
a knife. What do you got there? A knife. No!
Like, holy fuck, okay, This is real.
Yeah, it got real quick, and Aemond holds Jace up. He's ready to bash his head in with a rock.
You're gonna die, speaking his last words to him.
You're gonna die.
Saying, yeah.
Well, he threatens that he'll die in fire.
Oh, okay.
Like, I won't do it here, but you're gonna burn one day. Just like your dad, bastards. And that's when Jaehaerys decides to pull the knife. I'm surprised they didn't mention that he was holding a giant rock up ready to smash his head in later whenever they were like, trying to give testimony.
An important detail there.
I even forgot about it, so maybe the tensions were just running so high that, Jaehaerys ultimately does slice this man in the eye, and it's bad. Sir Harold comes running in. He's like, "Oh no, my little prince, what happened?" And he takes a look. Gods.
He's like, "May the gods be good." That's not what you want to hear.
No, I'd be like, "Yo, have a little bedside manner, homie." Like, shit.
Be like, "Oh, it's not that bad."
Gods be good. Yeah. Like, god damn, man, way to hold it together a little bit. But yeah, this ultimately draws them in to the hall. Everyone's pulling up. Viserys is trying to figure out what happens. Everyone makes their way in. Corlys, what is the meaning of this? They run to Rhaena and Baela. Rhaenyra comes in. Luke, oh no! Like, what happened? It's just all this shit's all coming together really, really in a tense way. Like, I loved watching this scene, and I love that Alicent is pointing the finger at Rhaenyra. She's protecting her kids. She's got Luke and Aegon at her sides. Rhaenyra's got Jaehaerys and Lucerys, and then it's Corlys and Rhaenys who are looking after Baela and Rhaena. These are the grandparents of these kids. Daemon is just standing in the corner and couldn't give less of a shit. He looks massively entertained. Like, he's got a little smile on his face the entire time. He thinks this shit is funny. He's like, this is the most exciting thing that's happened to me in over a decade.
That's true. Yeah, he's finally home again. He's been longing for home, whether he wants to admit it or not.
And he's like, yep, we're right back in it, buddy. Absolutely loved this shit. And this scene was incredible. Alicent's like, Rhaenyra's sons, they tried to kill my son. Alicent's never came off as more of a Karen than throughout this scene. She plays this shit so fucking good. Olivia Cook is incredible. Her just they tried to kill my son. And the princess is like, hey, they were only defending themselves against slander, and everyone's like, who? What? Otto was like a little bit encased in shadow, and then they show his face like come into the light a little bit, his eyebrow raised and stuff. I was like, oh man, we're getting
it's going down now. Yeah. This is happening finally.
And she's like, in front of everybody, they questioned my son's parentage. She doubles down. She's like, I'm not gonna let anyone think that, even if it is blatantly fucking obvious. Nah. They question that shit. I can't have that. That is treason of the highest order. This kid should be subjected to intense questioning to figure out where he heard such blasphemy. And Viserys is like, fair enough. I love that Viserys at this point is like, Rhaenyra can do no wrong. Rhaenyra, like, I'm with Rhaenyra 100%. This is how things are going to go. So he goes ahead and goes up to Aemond. What the fuck happened, boy? Leave nothing out. Where did you hear this shit? And he gives a staunch look over to his mother, over to Alicent, and Viserys looks back at her like, what have you been telling our kids? And then he ultimately decides it was Aegon. He says Aegon, and Viserys is like, fair enough. Aegon! Where did you hear such blasphemy? And Aegon plays this the smartest of anyone in the room. Instead of ratting out his mom, like it is very blatant where they heard this, we know, Dad. Everyone fucking knows. Just look at them. Like, what are we even doing here? And Viserys ignores that. He's like, damn all this infighting. It must stop. Everyone apologize and move on. Your father, your grandsire, your king demands it. And I was like, finally, this man portrays an ounce of authority. Like,
yeah. But he's doing it to cover his, like, he knows he's wrong.
Oh yeah, it's just complete denial.
And I mean, he does say that, like, we are a family. And I think, like, he's saying, like, I know we are not, like, the blood is not the blood that we think
we
it
are
is,
a
but
family.
we are still a family, and that's what matters, you know.
Exactly.
So I don't know. Viserys, he's one of the only characters that's just like, you can't really hate him that much, you know? Like,
yeah, he's done some shit in the past, but it's been a long time. I think he's seen the error of his ways. He's an old man now. He wants...
Yeah, as Game of Thrones standards goes, Viserys is pretty chill.
Yeah. I tend to agree. But, yeah, the apology, Alicent declares, is not enough. My son's eye was taken. And Viserys is like, I can't very well get it back, can I? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And Alicent goes, this is the moment where she got to decide. Do I go ahead and stop giving a fuck, or do I just let this go? And you know what she does? She does not give a fuck. I would like one of her son's eyes in return.
I'll even let him choose.
Before even pulling the knife from him, people knew she's fucking nuts. You know, like, that's just how far she was willing to go. This is the moment you realize, everyone in the room realizes, oh, she's crazy. Because even Aemond, who got his eye taken, looks at his mom like, what? Like, yeah, no fucking way. You just suggested to take a kid's eye.
And she thought she was being nice. She said, I'll even let him choose which eye he wants, because my son wasn't given that opportunity. You know, I'll be generous. And I don't know. She was, like, the look in her eyes. Like, she even, like, her conversation with Otto after, like, yeah, everyone knows you've lost it. Like,
yeah, he's like, all true. All true. You're straight fucking up, nuts.
Yep. Straight up, you said it, not me. Yep, I'm just confirming what you just said. Like,
but just as Rhaenyra doubled down a second ago with the, like, it's heresy, you cannot say that shit, like, she doubles down. Kristen, take Jacaerys' eye. And Kristen's like, maybe if you would have asked me in, like, a couple hours when everyone's laying down in bed, sure, maybe I'd have gone to his quarters and gone ahead and take this motherfucker's eye. But everyone's watching now. I can't really do that here. It was Lucerys. It was Lucerys that she suggested gets his eye taken. And Kristen, she goes, "You are sworn to me." After Viserys tells him to stand down, like, "No, you're not going to do that." And she's like, "You are sworn to me," and he's like, "I'm sworn to your protection, Your Grace. Like, I don't think I'm going to take this kid's eye. Okay, that doesn't seem necessary." And that's kind of the end of that. Viserys declares, "The matter is finished. We are going to make sure that anyone in the room who questions the parentage of Rhaenyra's children, the tongue that so questions shall be taken. And the king has spoken. Everyone, go to bed."
Finally, some fear. putting some fear in people, Like
Exactly.
he hasn't really done that at all.
And it's just so shitty that it took this long. It takes everyone coming to blows, and Viserys did try his best, man. He was not a great king, but he tried to be nice to everybody. He tried to be like, we can do this. It'll be okay. It's gotten to the point where it very clearly won't, and he's like, okay, fucking fine. I guess I'll do something about it. So he dismisses everyone to go, and Alicent's like, nope, not gonna do it. When Rhaenyra is squatted away, looking at her children, trying to be there for them, Alicent grabs the knife from Viserys, the cat's paw dagger, runs right over, and tries to kill Rhaenyra right then, right there. Decides, this is it. I'm going to go ahead and stab her ass. Rhaenyra, blocks her. Completely bitches her. What an overpowering, you didn't even get fucking close, man. She just grabbed your arm, held you at a distance, and said, you fucking suck. And they all know it now. What's up?
And it's interesting, that's the princess and the queen right there. So everyone, kind of just backs up and is like, well, we can't do anything. They have, everyone was, it was like, we need to do something to, save them, the feeling was like, oh, obviously this is not supposed to happen. We need to split them up. But it's like, I'm not going to touch the queen or the princess, I'm not getting in the middle of that.
There are only 3 men who step up to try to get involved. It's Sir Harold, Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, Kristen, there to protect Alicent, and Daemon, there to protect Rhaenyra. They all come barreling in. Kristen and Daemon nearly come to blows. Kristen has to get pulled off of him. Rhaenyra and her have a nice little back and forth here. Alicent is having a breakdown. Years in the making. You can tell this is not just my kids deserve to be on the throne. It's you've gotten everything you've ever wanted, and what have I got? What have I done but what was expected of me? Forever upholding the kingdom, the family, the law, while you do what you please. Again, tradition is trampled beneath your pretty foot. And, Rhaenyra goes, exhausting, wasn't it? Hiding beneath the cloak of your own righteousness, but now they see you as you are. And Alicent goes ahead and takes that final swing, trying to stab at her. And the movement cuts Rhaenyra's forearm. Blood drips on the floor. The way, the shot, this might be my favorite shot of the episode. Not only the blood dripping down her arm, but whenever Rhaenyra and Corlys are looking down at her arm, and then, simultaneously, they both just kind of, look up at her yo, are you fucking for real? No fucking way, dude.
What would you call this scene? I feel like it's deserving of a name. Not the Green Wedding. I don't know if it's up there with Green Wedding level, but it feels significant enough.
Yeah, this is a pretty big moment. This is the
Alicent's. I don't know. I feel her. What's a word for the start of you going crazy? Her
descent into madness.
Yeah, Alicent's descent. I don't know. Just something. Yeah, I'm just trying to say that this is my favorite scene of the episode.
I think it's mine as well. It is one scene from the moment they walk into this room until the moment they cut away at the end. This is one scene of this show. And it was potentially the best scene of the season. It was so fucking good. I think it's got to be the choice. Aemon breaks the silence, telling his mom, "Hey man, I lost an eye, but I gained a dragon. It's all right."
And everyone's kind of "Yup."
Yeah, everyone's like, "Wait a minute, you got a fucking dragon? What are we talking about here?" Just that part.
Well, what's up with that?
Yeah.
He's owning it though. He's gonna milk every ounce of Vhagar that he can.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I would too. Not gonna
Oh
lie.
yeah, frankly, I mean, if I have the biggest dragon in Westeros and I just went ahead and claimed it, it wasn't given to me. Nothing like I just took that shit. Sure, I'd rub that in everyone's face. But yeah, this was the best scene of the episode. The line, "But now they see you as you are." Definitely my favorite line of the episode. I will say, I think my favorite performance was Olivia Cook as Alicent Hightower.
Yeah.
And like everything comes together in this scene. You know, like everything being my favorites all happens here. You know what I'm saying? It's nuts. She was so fucking good during this scene, and in the worst possible way. But yeah, man, this was a hell of an episode.
Did you say your character?
I have not yet.
Yeah, that's.
I
I'm
will.
still.
I will get there. I think I got it, but I will get there.
I think my line might be Corliss's. Whenever
History doesn't remember blood; it remembers names.
Yeah,
that's a good one too.
Because I think it's more not just for his character, but that's like where the show's going.
Show. Yeah.
Blood, it remembers names.
I mean, shit. When Rhaenyra and Daemon are talking later, there might be a line in there that I'm like, ooh, never mind. I think that might be it, because there's a few great ones there. But after all this, Otto swings by Alicent's quarters. She expects a reaming for the action she took. You know, he's like, she says, "Say your piece." He's like, "What piece would that be?" And she admits all her behavior was bad. She shouldn't have done anything she did. She deeply regrets it. She gave them exactly what they wanted. Now the king's favor will forever be with Rhaenyra. And he's like, "Yep, all true. Yep, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm proud of you.
You are nuts.
But
I have never seen that side of you. In fact, I doubted its existence. But clearly you're ready for this." She goes, "It was ugly. I shouldn't have done it." And he's like, "No. We play an ugly game. And now for the first time, I see you have the strength to win it." And he's like, "Go to Viserys, be penitent, be there for him, and I promise you, in time, you and I together will prevail." And he's like, and the fucking balls on Aemond. Like, he's so happy that happened. He's like, "Oh, they don't even fucking know, Alicent. We got this shit in the bag now." Like, that
so
was...
I guess now the sides of the war, I'm trying to think. We have like the High Tower. We have Alicent, Otto, Aemond, probably Aegon. Yeah,
Aegon
Aegon
and
will
Helena
probably
are
be
married.
thrown in there.
Yeah.
True. And then now
The
Daemon
greens and
and
the blacks.
Rhaenyra. I feel like who's I guess Corlys, and I guess could have like a... No, I'm trying to think of like other players other
That's
than
the
just
thing,
these
is that
two.
Corlys and Rhaenys, after this interaction, after the scene earlier, I would say yes, they are full blown on Rhaenyra's side. They're going to go ahead and just go ahead and devote everything to her. But now that it appears Laenor has died, and they even try to vaguely make it look like they did it so that people fear them, I don't think they'll want to be on Rhaenyra's side either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think like they might just go, "Fuck this shit. We're leaving."
No, I think they definitely do. You mean like Rhaenyra and Daemon leave?
No, I mean Corlys and Rhaenys.
Because I guess they're... Oh no, this all happens at Driftmark, right?
Yeah, this whole
This
episode happens at Driftmark.
It's called Driftmark. Okay. Huh. I don't know. I feel Corlys, it might be like, might take it to the next level and be like, "No, like you
They remember
go on
names.
you go on the throne. Your name was already there. Like, let's actually try to do that. Like, I don't know.
Well, and that's true. I forgot that it would be Rhaenys who was hesitant to join their side, but Corlys is still, they have our name. They are our grandkids.
Because
They remember
now,
names.
and Corlys is going to be like, oh, well, our grandkid was supposed to get Vhagar. Look what happened. She fumbled the bag. Now we can't. Like, he'll see it as a business. Like his business brain will be like, well, I can't go with the kids anymore. So now, what's the next best solution? We still have you, who was already almost queen. Like, and I guess their claim. No way, no. And I was gonna say, like, no way they have another kid, right? To have, like, no.
No, probably not. But regardless, I think that I think this is going to go well for Daemon and Rhaenyra overall. I think that Corlys will ultimately join their side, and I think because they still have Baela and Rhaena are Daemon's kids. Like, they do still have blood on that side of the family. So, they'll probably go ahead and side with them anyway. But next up in Rhaenyra's quarters, Laenor comes home after the night of mourning his sister alone. He was nowhere to be seen during that meeting in the hall, and is astonished when he comes home and is like, yo, what the fuck's going on here? She's got a scar on her arm. Lucerys' nose is broken. It's like, what the fuck happened? And he's all, I should have been there. And those should be our house words. I was like, oh, cold-blooded.
Ooh, man.
But she goes ahead and fills them in here. Yeah, they accused our sons of not being true-born. They accused our sons of being bastards. And I just love that they keep doing this, because every time you can tell he's like,
well,
yeah. He's like, yeah, they do, don't they?
Wow, I wonder why.
But they talk further. This is when they really acknowledge it. Probably not for the first time, but for the first time for us. She's like, I really had hoped I'd bury your kids the few times we lay together. And he says, I hate the gods for making me as they did. And she's like, no, you're an honorable man with a good heart. It's a rare thing. And it's true. And this is the scene where I decide Laenor is actually my favorite character of the episode. I like the journey he goes on here. I don't think what is this, like the third episode I've picked Laenor for my favorite character? I don't know, but or second maybe.
Second, yeah.
Yeah, but
I had him for my previous two.
Gotcha.
But I was thinking of who I was going with. I'm just going with Aegon or Aemon. I think
Gotcha.
he took this is his leaping off moment, and I think it's I don't know. I could give it to
I mean, Rhaenyra. I would love to give it to Rhaenyra. She had a great episode, but I felt for Laenor hard this week, and ultimately he gets everything I've wanted for him. So I'm so happy that Laenor, whereas last week I was distraught over how they did my boy Harwin, I'm so glad with the way they did Laenor this week. It made or broke this episode.
Dude, whenever they were made the realization well, if we need to get married, then what
Laenor
has
to die.
I was like, no. I'm like and Rhaenyra was immediately in on it, and I'm like, okay, she's not actually comfortable with that, right? No way, is this really happening? And then Daemon tackles that one random dude just going up the stairs or walking or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I didn't piece it together that was just the double that they would use.
Right.
So I was still freaking out and thinking that he was really dead or really dying here.
Well, it's so funny because we'll get there. We're almost there. But she says, you're a good man with a good heart. It's a rare thing. And he lets her know that Sir Carl is heading back to the Stepstones to fight soon. And he's like, I had a choice. I can live with happiness or I can live in duty. And I've realized they can't coexist. So I'm recommitting myself to you. You deserve better than what I've been. You deserve a husband. It's this moment she realizes, I'm going to do you a solid, homie. Let me fill you in on a plan I've got. And Rhaenyra's in. She's like, you know what? I do deserve a husband. Let's figure this shit out right quick. She goes on over to Daemon, and they discuss in High Valyrian as she begs him to help with the fight against Alicent to stay. I cannot face the Greens alone. Let us bind our blood just as Aegon the Conqueror did with his sisters. She proposes that he become her husband and prince consort. But he points out that they can't marry unless Laenor is dead. And she responds, I know. And just like that, we see Daemon down at the shipyards talking to Carl, offering him a lot of gold to give Laenor a quick death, one with witnesses. And we're made to think that they've quickly hatched a plan to kill Laenor. But we watch Daemon pull up, snap a dude's neck. We see Carl burst in and have a fight with Laenor. And as soon as Laenor was there for it, immediately in on the fight, I looked at Emily and I went, "Oh, they're faking his death."
Oh, yeah, I didn't put it together until
Laenor was not surprised.
Yeah.
Carl pulls up, he's like, and because for half a second, I was worried. I was like, if Laenor dies here, bro, this show has a gay problem. If they have Carl kill Laenor after Joffrey got beat to death a few episodes back, that would just be a string of deaths and bad representation for a gay relationship.
I heard that he does die in the book. That this was a massive difference. I just I saw it was a tweet. I don't know how. I just saw the tweet was massive difference from the book. I can't believe that Laenor lives.
I think it's the best possible fucking way for this to play out. What the fuck are we talking about here? The way they portrayed Carl and Laenor's relationship so far, it would make absolutely no fucking sense for Carl to go in there and kill him. He's very clearly not been longing after his wealth and power.
I think just in the books, though, it just shows how relentless. I think if Laenor dies here, that's a difference in character for Rhaenyra. If Rhaenyra actually is okay with killing Laenor, then she's way crazier than she is now.
Right.
So I think, I don't know, maybe that's a sign that they're taking Rhaenyra's character a little bit different, because that's kind of nuts if Laenor actually died. Maybe in the books it wasn't necessarily Rhaenyra's doing. Maybe Daemon did it on his own or something in the books. I don't know, but I don't know. I'm glad. I'm glad that he's alive and just
am too, man.
Out just so gonna glad. Do what do you think? What's he going off to do?
Well, I mean, Daemon says to Carl, there are places across the Narrow Sea where it doesn't matter what your name is, just how much gold you have. So it was him telling him, you'll be able to live the life you want. It sounded like a threat whenever you don't know what's happening, but looking back, it's you'll be able to live comfortably and without worry. You'll be okay if you go across the Narrow Sea. And
I see.
Yeah, but here's how it all goes. Carl goes in there, draws his blade. He's like, "You've always looked down on me," and he's like, "No, I've not." Blah, blah, blah. And then they just start fighting, and it's it was right then that I was like, okay, I don't think they would have been this quick to blows. I think that Laenor would have been a little bit more like, "Carl, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What's going on here?"
I can't believe I didn't put it together. And I'm like, yeah, this can definitely be happening right now. It's realistic here.
But wow. a servant does see it. And the boy's like, I'm going to go get help. And in the meantime, a random dude that Daemon has knocked out and killed is dragged into the space, thrown into the fireplace, and I'm just like imagining that happening. Like I'm imagining like Daemon dragging the body in here, Laenor and Carl being like, "What the fuck, dude?" And he's like, "How the fuck did you think this was gonna happen? Go, go, go!"
That's definitely how it went down. Do you think they knew about that? That's hilarious.
They had to have. They had to have. Like, they had to have been okay with the idea that they were going to kill someone to make this happen. Well, like, maybe they didn't think that far ahead. They were like, "Oh yeah, we'll fake my death, perfect." But like, the only way that you can fake someone's death is to get someone to die. And Daemon did it like quite mercifully, considering he snapped his neck before he burned his body. It would have been pretty hellish for him to have just died in the fire. But this body was thrown on. Yeah, just wrong place, wrong time. He's. Do they put like Laenor's boots on him? Like,
maybe
because they show an emphasis on his boots. Like they pan down the body to show his boots. Like, oh yeah, he had to have been wearing what Laenor was wearing, or something that Laenor owns, or else, what the fuck are we doing here? Yeah, he's burned beyond recognition. Everyone comes running. Rhaenys, Corlys, and just the way Rhaenys breaks down here, like, oh god, I feel so bad for Corlys and Rhaenys, man. Both their kids dead, both by fire. At least in their minds, like they have no way of knowing that Laenor's alive, and they never will again. I think Laenor's done. I think he's going across the narrow sea, and we'll never see him again.
Okay, I guess maybe if they do join Daemon and Rhaenyra's side, they could be like, have peace in knowing that your son is alive. Like maybe they do let him know. Because I'd say they'd be very suspicious. Like, oh, my son dies and you immediately get married. You did it. Like they're not dumb. They're gonna be like, you did it, and they're gonna be like, yeah.
I'm hoping Rhaenyra and Rhaenys have that one-on-one.
Yeah.
And I hope Rhaenys keeps it from Corlys.
Ooh.
Like Rhaenys just goes ahead and pockets that information. Like, I can take peace of mind. And he like, no matter what, he's going to be like, I think she'll see his reaction, no matter what, being going to Rhaenyra's side. And being like, yep, riding for you now. I don't have my kid's not your husband anymore, but I know that my grandkids can still be the on the throne one day. But who knows? I don't. I certainly don't. But in the aftermath of this, Rhaenyra and Daemon are wed in a ceremony that features the blood from their lips being marked on each other, and them kissing with the blood running down their mouths and stuff, and their hands joined with a giant cut in the middle.
You know what the blade was that they were cutting with?
Oh, was it the cat's paw?
No, it was just dragons, whatever the actual mineral itself is called. Like when the stuff that can kill
Dragon
White Walkers.
glass.
Yeah, dragon glass. They had like a little bit of dragon glass that was cutting them in their hands and their lips. Yeah.
But I'm not. I'm still not like huge on Rhaenyra and Daemon. They're getting a really, really romantic treatment. I'm not like 100% here for that. I'm more here for the implications of their marriage, story wise. Because frankly, I just can't get behind it. I know that I know that it's fantasy. I know that we're dealing with the Targaryens. My least favorite thing on Twitter right now is the people who are like, we're watching Game of Thrones. What'd you think was going to happen? And they're like actively shipping incestuous relationships. I'm like, no, I don't think that's how this works, actually. Yes, it's fantasy. Yes, it's fiction. I don't think that means you're supposed to go, I want an uncle who watched his niece grow up to get married and have a romantic relationship. Like, there's no light in which
no.
that's not weird for me.
No. It's okay to be like, oh, their marriage sparks very interesting conflicts in the show, and like it'll bring for, you know, a very cool side of the war. Like that's one part that you can look into and be like, that is a cool part of their marriage. But the marriage itself is still no.
Yeah.
Like it is no in the first place. Like it's okay for in the show to know what it will cause and like to think of that, but to actually be behind the marriage and be like to like reform like that is weird. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. All the memes are just like everyone worships House Targaryen. You know, let's put the banners back up. You know, like it's time to bring the banner back out. I'm worshiping House Targaryen again.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a little too far.
I can't do it, man. I just can't. But regardless, it was a beautiful ceremony. This was very, very prettily shot and everything. I can't help but feel like this episode should have been like, I did like Miguel Sapochnik's direction this week a lot more than last week. But I can't help but feel like this episode should have been directed by the chick who did 4 and 5. I feel like it would have just, I mean, like, it was already fucking fantastic, and the rating will reflect that. But I think it was Claire Kilner. I think that was her name. Let me check. I want to make sure I get that right. Yeah, Claire Kilner. I think like this episode could have benefited a lot from having her direct it, because the way 4 and 5 looked was fucking nuts. And this did look great, but the way that she shot the romantic scenes between Rhaenyra and Daemon was quite effective for me. But yeah, it's after this wedding that we find out Laenor is alive. He shaved his head and he's in a rowboat with Carl. They're heading out to board a ship, and they're heading to Essos. And I was like, thank fucking God. That like made or broke this episode. If Laenor was dead, I would have been like, no, fuck this. This is not good. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm just so glad. I'm so glad he's alive. I am so glad he's alive.
Yeah, that's where it finally hit me. You know, it took me seeing him on screen to put it together that they were faking his death. You know, like, well, I guess after the guy was thrown in the fire, like I'm like, okay, no, that's not actually him. You know, like I was getting a little suspicious, but like here I was like, okay.
Yeah, when they cut back, cut back after the fight. We don't see the death. You just see a body on the fire. It's like, oh, okay, maybe there's hope.
Yeah, but no, it was a nice relief,
and it was really well edited. The way like through all of that, it was still Rhaenyra and Daemon hatching the plan as it unfolds. Like it was so fucking good. It was so fucking good. But yeah, man, did you land on all your favorites? Did we get all that out of the way?
Yep, I got Aemon as my character. So I think he'll take a very cool direction. I got Olivia Cook for the performance. I think you did as well. There,
I did, yes.
I had to agree with you there. I don't think there was another performance that stood up to hers this episode. Both of our scenes were Alicent going crazy.
Yeah.
And then the line I went with was "History doesn't remember blood; it remembers names" by Corliss. And then your line was "But now they see
you as you are." Yeah, that was too fucking good. But are we ready to throw a rating at this bad boy?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm ready. This one is.
Oh, I'm ready.
Is gonna do well.
I have the feeling it will do quite well. But yeah, so our rating system, it's got 3 categories out of 10. First one being enjoyment, completely subjective, just entirely how we felt about the episode, how much it connected with us on an emotional level, how much we enjoyed it. Genre, just how well it fulfills its fantasy Game of Thrones-esque, and this one was phenomenal. Featuring a funeral, a wedding, maiming, sex, dragon riding. It was everything you want a Game of Thrones episode to be. And then critical rating. This is where we take the enjoyment rating and flip it on its head. It's completely objective. However we're feeling about the way this episode was done, film wise, acting wise, writing wise, cinematography, soundtrack, the score, all this, all very, very important and all to be considered here. We take the average of those three numbers and it becomes our rating for the episode. So, you're ready to get into it.
Oh, I'm ready. Yeah, enjoyment wise, I think I'm right up at a 10.
That's a 10. Yes. That's a 10.
There's just too much going on here not to ride the tension bus. Like it was just so much tension being built the whole time, and this group of people are about to explode. Like it's about to go down. And I don't know when Viserys is going to die. I'm not thinking it's going to happen until season 2. I don't care. So that whenever it does happen next episode, probably, or whenever, I'm just not, I'll be surprised because, man, I thought that dude was dead episode 2 or 3.
Right.
Dude's holding on though. So I'm cool with it.
He's holding out.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's too good. This episode just had so much going for it.
It was so fucking good, man. It was like I said, it was everything you want a Game of Thrones episode to be. And I think that lends itself to the genre rating being a 10 as well. I think it's a 10 out of 10 in 2 categories. The critical rating is the only one where I think it might drop. And when I say it might drop, I mean 0.25. Like that's probably a 9.75 out of 10 for me. It's not substantial. I immediately came off of it thinking, oh, I think that episode would have been better directed by someone else. Yeah. And if that's the thought, it's going to come down a little bit, but it was still so fucking well done. The editing was incredible again. The visual effects were fucking outstanding. Aemond on that dragon was, like I said, the best dragon riding I think we've ever fucking seen.
And it looked real. Like it didn't look wonky. Like, was it Laenor riding?
It was Laenor on Sea Smoke.
Yeah, like it looked a little wonky, like a little bit, Like I guess how real can you really make dragon riding look? But this, like, I don't know, it looked very good.
It did. It looked so good. The tensions were riding high. The full arc for the episode being the funeral for Laena, Daemon losing his wife, gaining a new one, where the war is taking shape. We're choosing sides. It's time to roll. It was too fucking good, man. It was too fucking good.
It's a 9.92.
It's a 99% on the old tomato meter.
On IMDb, this episode was given a 9.5 out of 10.
So we're a little kind to it.
I think it's the highest rated this season. Yeah, episode 5 was a 9 out of 10. 4 was an 8.5. Yeah, this is the highest rated episode so far.
Rightfully so, I think. I think that's fair, but I do still find myself maybe not liking episode 5 more, but thinking episode 5 was just a tad bit more well done.
Yeah,
or so slightly, just ever so slightly. This was so fucking good. But yeah, I fucking loved this episode, man. It was so goddamn good. One of my favorite episodes of Game of Thrones of all time.
Yeah, they keep doing it. I got trust in them. This show is gonna last however long they keep making it because it's just that good. You can't I don't know. It's too good to not make. If if it's getting the reception it's getting, and I don't think it's gonna dwindle anytime soon. Yeah.
But yeah, man. This episode coming to a 99%, a 9.92 on our scale, 99% on the tomato meter. Fucking brilliant.
Any predictions you got?
I stopped trying to predict the show a few episodes back.
Yeah. I mean, now it's just like, what really can we? It's just
the war's coming.
When's it gonna start? Yeah.
It's like who kills who. It's kind of all we got left. But I'm so excited for the show, man. For 3 weeks left, 3 episodes left. A little bit of a time jump next week. The kids will be older. Very excited for that. But shit, man, I don't know. I'm ready for it. You got any last thoughts on the episode?
I think I got it.
All right. Then with that, I think we've concluded Fire and Bloom, a House of the Dragon podcast, number 107, Driftmark. Coming to a 9.9 out of 10. Damn good. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll find over 40 hours of exclusive content, including we just concluded the awards plans for our 52-year journey through film mega award show. We got one more step to take, but we got all the nominees laid out right now. And that's like a total. It was in 3 parts, and I think it ended up totaling like 5.5, almost 6 hours of planning. So we put some time into it, and it's over there on Patreon for you. Put a lot of time into the pod, and we appreciate if you can help us pay those dividends back. $3 a month over on patreon.com/CoroBloom. It would be a huge help. If you would, head to Twitter, follow @PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram @PennyBloomPodcast. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. If you're fucking with me and Joe, we're covering Andor every Wednesday on the Andor After Party. This week will mark episode 5. On Fridays, we're continuing our 52-year journey through film, as I mentioned a moment ago. And we're starting a new decade this Friday, the 10s. It's coming close to a close. But this Friday's movie is Inception, directed by Christopher Nolan. And you'll hear us question whether it is as good as the people seem to make it out to be. It's kind of the sentiment you can expect on the Inception episode coming this Friday. But yeah, come back next week for Fire and Bloom, House of the Dragon. Stick with us. Leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you're listening. Share us with whoever you know watching the show. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And now they see you as you are.